Why humility is a cheat code. Humility, being humble, is a cheat code in life. Hear me out and let me explain real quick. Humility, pertaining to how an individual relates to others, is when you don't look down at anyone or anything, nor do you look up to anyone or anything. Doing either one is based in pride. Just like Proverbs 16:18 says, pride will lead you directly to destruction. Self-sabotage, self-abandonment, self-destruction. Allowing pride to lead you in life is the definition of inviting chaos into your life. Unlike, what the world and society may try to convince you, of course. See, in every aspect of life, society encourages us to lead with pride. We're told that pride makes you strong and powerful. And this is exactly what the enemy of your success and fulfillment want you to do and want you to believe. As long as you view life through the lens of pride, the enemy has the ability to convince you of whatever he wants to convince you and deceive you with the illusions of the ego. We're encouraged to idolize celebrities, public figures, athletes, historical figures, politicians, spiritual leaders like pastors, bishops, apostles, and prophets, and even more. We pedestalize these people as if they are better than us or more important than us, sometimes even worshiping these people without realizing it. At the same time, we encourage to look down on other people who have less than us, looking down on animals and plants, looking down on children even. We tend to look down on people we don't agree with or don't like. In religions like Christianity, you're taught to look down on other religions as if Christianity is the only way to the Most High or the only way to the truth. And like everyone else is lost because they don't follow Christian traditions. No matter what country you're in, you'll run into people who are so patriotic they despise other countries. See, either route is extremely dangerous, and you can't have one without the other. The Creator designed this life to balance itself out. That's why you have no choice but to reap what you sow, regardless of if you know it or not. Whether you realize it or not, you gotta reap what you sow. So if you idolize something or someone, it's because you also look down on someone or something else. See, most people don't understand what humility is, and they usually equate it to being weak, allowing other people to walk all over you and having their way with you. But really, it's the exact opposite. When you navigate life through the lens of humility, you're able to see things and people for who they are and what they are. Regardless of how it makes you feel, regardless of what your opinion is or what you think, you see things clearly. Unlike pride, there is nothing tainting your judgment or your perspective. So let me give you a real life example. Let's say, for instance, you enter into a competition with the lens of pride. When you face off against someone, you're going to be comparing yourself to that person. Subconsciously, you won't be able to help but to constantly be sizing your opponent up, trying to figure out if you're inferior or superior to that person. If you face someone who you perceive as inferior, you'll be more likely to try and cut corners, take shortcuts, making yourself vulnerable for them to capitalize because you won't believe that they can capitalize. You'll be more likely to underestimate their abilities, which in most cases will come back to bite you in the long run. If you face someone who you perceive as superior to you, you'll be more likely to give them way too much respect. You'll overestimate their abilities and probably become more prone to desperation or just flat out giving up. You even putting them above you will cause your confidence to dwindle. You'll be more prone to hesitation and overthinking. In other words, competing with the filter of pride will remove your ability to see your competitors for what they are. The ones you feel are superior, you overlook their weaknesses and vulnerabilities because you give too much credit to their strengths. The ones you feel are inferior, overlook their strengths because you give too much credit to their weaknesses. But either one leaves you completely vulnerable to someone who is locked in with humility. See, when a person who is humble enters a competition, they are grounded. They are centered. They ain't caught up in the illusions. They completely present in the moment. They able to recognize and acknowledge the strengths and the weaknesses of their opponents. Because of this presence of mind, they're able to find ways to adapt to their strengths and find ways to capitalize on their weaknesses. Whether their opponent is quote-unquote lesser or quote-unquote better, they compete with the same intensity. They won't become complacent and put their guard down against the inferior opponent. Neither will they lose confidence against the superior competitor. Will they win every single competition or battle? No, but they will continue to grow through every single challenge because of their humble mind. Humility gives you the ability to continue to grow, while pride hinders your growth. Like I said earlier, pride invites chaos into your life, and nothing can grow, develop, or cultivate properly in the midst of chaos. Chaos destroys, divides, and robs you of your peace, happiness, and abundance. Humility gives you the ability to recognize opportunities, even when things look dark, while at the same time, it gives you the ability to recognize traps and pitfalls when things look sweet. When you're humble, you never overestimate yourself, getting a big head when you feel like you're doing good, nor will you lose hope and underestimate yourself when times get rough. You always present, you always learning, you always growing. See, in my country, idolatry is a hell of a problem. And of course, idolatry is rooted in pride. Like I said earlier, if you idolize or look up to something or someone, you are going to undermine and look down at somebody or something else. And you can idolize things, places, and even people. In a society, people tend to idolize their favorite celebrity or public figure, always tuning into what they're doing or what's going on, finding ways to glorify their accomplishments, while simultaneously finding ways to justify their mistakes and faults. Because they aren't humble, they're not able to have a balanced perspective of their idols. They give way too much credit to their accomplishments and don't give enough credit to their wrongs. At the same time, giving so much attention to these people, they remove their attention away from themselves. While they could be giving the time and attention that they give to these celebrities to themselves, to cultivate themselves, they give this time and attention to these celebrities, subconsciously giving the idol more importance and more value than themselves. Even especially in the Christian church. Without even realizing it, most of the people sitting in congregations will place the value of the pastor above themselves. They subconsciously idolize their leader as if their leader is God, or the words that come from their preacher are the words of God, not questioning the teachings or guidance of the leader, forgetting or not even realizing that their pastor or teacher is just as unrighteous and unholy as they are, just as lost as they are. Some even idolize the church building as if the church building is a righteous place just because it's called a church. They come to church on their best behavior with their best outfits on, trying to uphold a quote-unquote holy image. In whole, most Christians idolize the religion of Christianity. They idolize the traditions, questioning nothing. They look down on other religions because other religions don't follow their traditions. They believe that their religion and their traditions is God. In most cases, not even upholding and living by the teachings of Christ, but idolizing the traditions of man. Because they don't have true humility, they idolize the status and the image of Christianity, and they don't understand that the kingdom of God is within them. They believe the way to God is their pastor, their Bible, or their church. When Jesus himself says that in order to enter the kingdom of God, you have to go within and make peace with the storm that's within you. Check Matthew chapter 6, verse 24 through 34. Check Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 through 13. Even with things, Some people idolize things and will place the value of these things above the value that they have for themselves. Because this particular thing may be fun, entertaining, comfortable, or just overall pleasing, they will neglect the negativity that is associated with these things. They'll find ways to overlook and or justify the negative effect that this particular thing has in their life just to keep it around. Why? Because they place the value of this particular idol above the truth and above themselves. And the real problem is most people don't know themselves. We all have egos, and most people think that they are their egos. The ego is most definitely a part of who you are, but it isn't who you are. See, when you're humble, you understand the difference between yourself and your ego. The lens of pride will blur these lines. When the ego is prideful, you live to please your ego. You use the world outside of you to do that. You want to be accepted and acknowledged. You consume things that feel good, look good, smell good, sound good, or taste good, even if they ain't really beneficial to your well-being. You want the status. You want to be comfortable and entertained. You want to be superior. You want to be loved. In order to satisfy your ego, you chase the vanity of life. But sadly, the ego is never satisfied. See, the enemy of your success, your peace, and your abundance loves when you're stuck in this rat race of trying to satisfy your ego. As long as you're bound by pride, being led by your pride, he's able to use this pride to sabotage you and hinder you. Really, to trick you into sabotaging yourself. He uses your lust of the eye to keep you distracted from your blessings. He uses your laziness and your attachment to comfort. He uses your laziness and your attachment to comfort to keep you stagnant. He uses your jealousy to keep you from recognizing how blessed and loved you are. He uses your greed to use you to be a roadblock to other people's abundance. He uses your gluttonous nature to eat yourself into bad health. He uses your wrath to hurt others and keep you focused on being destructive rather than productive. And of course, all of these things stem from pride. And like I said, as long as you're being led by that pride, he'll be able to use that pride as a string to pull you in whatever direction he wants. And it'll never be for your benefit. A person who has taken the time to humble themselves understand that chasing vanity is a waste of time. It's no different from chasing the wind. They have a fulfilling love for themselves, so they always know that they are loved. They choose to live their life by purpose instead of living their life by pleasure. They don't seek to dominate, nor can they be dominated. They've already been through the process of acknowledging and accepting themselves, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. So they don't look for acknowledgement or acceptance anywhere else. They don't allow negativity into their lives, no matter how it looks, tastes, sounds, smells, or feels. They see life for what it is and not for what they want it to be. They appreciate life for what it is: the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. They don't wish and hope for an easy life. They harness the strength to endure and make the most of a tough life. A truly humble person is a powerful person. Just like Jesus said in the scriptures, they get their peace, happiness, abundance, love, and the rest of their blessings from within, not from their ego, but from God, because they understand that the kingdom of God is within them. They don't have to follow a religion or submit to man-made traditions to get to God. They went within. They faced the storms of their thoughts. They went within, faced the storms of their thoughts, desires, opinions, and emotions, and let them go. Instead of staying lost in the storm, they found the eye of that storm. They found true peace. And within that peace, they gained access to all the blessings that God prepared for them. And these blessings aid them in navigating life, making sure they don't get caught up in the pitfalls of pride. Peace.